This is a FLIR camera, so basically you guys should be able to see me in this camera. I'm the red, orange, and yellow guy. Sorry, fellas, I'm the hottest thing in the video right now. Just want to point that out. Yes, laughter, that's good. I want you guys to have fun. So we're literally looking for blue and black spots with this. So this is a FLIR camera. This is what firemen use to actually help save people. This is the real deal. So this is not a phone app or any kind of phoniness. The cool thing about this particular camera is it's going to give us a blue dot that's bouncing around the screen, giving us the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. It's kind of helping guide your eye when you get your full video back. So with that said, Patrick, you're going to actually hold this guy right-handed so you can actually see the screen and keep the camera on your left all night long. I'll give you a few starts and stops throughout the night. All right. Just because as great as that hardware is, the software for it is horrible. If we record for too long, we'll lose footage, and we don't want to do that. So let's get out the next crazy camera.
Ooh, you hot.
I got all kinds of crazy gadgetry in this whole thing. Yeah, he's checking you out. Everybody does it. And you're gonna see, like, I'm the hothead of the night because my face will be completely white. You know, as we kind of move on, because I'm the one that's gonna be talking the most. So quick demo with this guy. You should not be able to see me in this pretty dark GoPro camera. I know I'm showing you a black screen, but there's a reason for it. So let's turn on some lights. The entire screen should have lit up in a purple hue at this point. We're working with infrared lighting on this camera. So basically what infrared lighting is doing is it's lights you cannot see with your own eyes. So it's emitting this way. We're hoping to be able to capture something we would normally not be able to find with our own eyes. So this guy is super fun because it does capture a lot of orbs, but we're going to be using an accompanying item to go along with this. So Martin, I think this one's going to go to you, sir. It's going to basically, it's got a little bit of weight to it, so don't be afraid of it. I'm going to start the recording just to make sure it's not going to lock us up. This one likes to lock up from time to time. The new upgrade to this is in the shop. So just want to make sure we get rid of those bugs before we truly get home. So the accompanying item with this guy is, this is the neuralizer for Men in Black. Nobody's going to remember anything by the time we're done. Yes, you guys got the Men in Black too. So, lasers. So we're going to be using lasers because basically in a nutshell you can see the pen, you can see the laser on the ground, but you can't see the lasers until something passes through it. Now the camera that I just handed over to Martin basically is going to be filming through these lasers all night long in certain spaces just because where we're actually going to be allowed to use them. So with that said, we're hoping that I can capture a still and give you the full JPEG picture of what we actually caught. We're going to be using two different styles. The second one gives us red squares. In the event we capture something here, I can take that still and put it in 3D software and give you the full 3D view of what we caught along with the measurements of that entity. So with that said, Miss Kathleen, these always go to adults. So you're going to be using both of these. So the two of you are going to be working together. So the pen, just so you know, has a little button right here. When you use it, it has to stay on the ground. So there is a laser law in Charleston, hence why they only go to adults. You always want to make sure when you turn them on, the tip of it stays right by your toe, so that way you know you have the laser control. So a little bit further out, right there, perfect. So that way you can always have, like, we're looking for things up in here. So you're going to be using both of them, but this one has a toggle switch, so once you turn it on, it stays on. Okay. Just be careful that you're not moving it around while it's on. Okay. Let's get into spirit boxes. Everybody loves using spirit boxes. It's usually why most people come and see me. I have 5 different types of spirit boxes, and I have 6 total. 2 of them are twins. So the first of the twins, spirit boxes, if you're unfamiliar with them, are basically going to sweep through FM radio stations at a very fast rate. So with that said, this is just like what you would hear on TV, then it's just the white noise. And then the host will tell you what he thinks he heard in the middle of it. So again, we're going to be doing that kind of similar style, but a little bit of a different method. Reason being is because none of you are trained to listen to white noise for 2 hours at a time. With all the history I spout off, somebody's going to fall asleep. These are slowed down. I want the radio chatter to come through. So if you hear song lyrics, DJs, anything like that, I want to know what you heard. So if you hear welcome to Charleston kind of mentality, I want to know that you heard welcome to Charleston. So you're going to have an earbud in. Miss Ariana, did I get the name right? Yeah. All right, perfect. So you're going to be the only one to hear it in real time. However, this one is recording. Everybody's going to get this recording back tomorrow morning. She can mess with the volume all she wants to because it can't mess up the recording. I will be spot checking it in the morning on top of writing down everything she hears in real time. Now your earwax is gross, you get to keep that. So I don't want these earbuds back. So you have to undo the twist tie when you're, to get them started, and then your volume button is a wheel right here at the top. I'm going to make sure it's turned all the way down. So go ahead and get those started and undo your twist tie so you can pop an earbud in. The The other twin does not record. So, these are super fun, by the way. I'm missing your name. Caitlin. I missed that. I don't know. Caitlin, you're going to get the other one. So, this one doesn't record, so I'm going to have to rely on you and what you hear in real time. So, again, kind of keep that in mind. Again, your earwax is nasty. You get to keep that. Your volume button is the wheel at the top. I'm making sure it's turned all the way down, and it is sweeping perfect.
Do you see my teeth? How about when I breathe hard?
Yeah.
You see air coming out?
No, you don't see the air coming out, but you see the heat.
The next spirit box we don't actually have to listen to. It's just going to give us a set of words from time to time in the middle of the screen. This would kind of be like an obulus of the things you guys see on TV where it just gives you the word. It's going to save all of the words to a list. The last tour I did had 72 terms. That's about average for 2 hours worth of time frame. I'm going to clear them out and start you guys off fresh. So that way we have our own list because they already have theirs. Now this is a phone app. This thing has 36,000 terms and phrases in it. 80% of it's going to be garbage. It's going to be the other 5 to 20% that's going to be relative to the location of where we are, a person in history we're talking about, or even something going on with one of you. So, you know that there's Leona? Yeah, I figured you're a little quiet. I got to get you talking. So, I don't want to see every word that pops up. I will come to you when I want to see the word list, but you can check it out just by hitting that little white box to the right of the word when they start popping up. I know, spirit boxes, I try to put at least one in every single group. So, Lisa, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, look at me, I got one name right.
Woohoo!
So, your spirit box works a little bit differently because I need this one to be open air next to the thermal imaging camera that Patrick's using. So that way, in case you miss something, the audio will be on the camera because it doesn't record.
Mm-hmm.
So, but with that, this is going to sweep through AM and FM radio stations simultaneously and try to take out the white noise that the two young ladies are listening to, and only give you words. It's only going to give you about 10 to 12 things you can actually make out through the whole time we're going to be together. So this way the two of you can actually use this guy together as he's kind of filming and watching around. That way you guys can verify what you guys actually heard. The only thing you need to worry about is how to hold it. The blinking lights are the top. So on the right-hand side for you, there's a mute button. It's on mute right now, but it's the only button there. So when I say it's safe to unmute it, you'll unmute it, and that way the two of you can actually listen in together.
Okay.
So that one's going to go to you.
You hold
Let's see.
the blinking buttons out.
This spirit box is a really old style of spirit box. This is usually like the last one that I'll actually bring out, just because it is an older style. I'm missing names. I know, but a car was driving by. I missed it. Elena. Got it. So your spirit box works the same way as the two red ones with the earbuds, but it has a ball speaker. So your volume is on the side. You'll have to hold it up gently to get some volume, and then obviously hold it down to get it to turn down. We're going to leave it turned down for now, because I want to kind of get through the last couple of devices. Alright, you guys have all seen these on television, right? So electromagnetic field meters. So these are pretty much a staple on a ghost hunt. I use these to debunk things. I want to know what's going on with the colors on this, just to see if it's coming from something man-made. So wiring, parking meters, and the like, those kind of things. So again, Miss Mia, you're going to actually have two jobs. You're going to also be taking pictures, because most teenagers don't know what this digital camera is. So you're going to be taking hundreds and hundreds of pictures, even through the lasers. Like that would be good too, in case they miss something on the film. But again, hundreds and hundreds of pictures. There is no flash, which means you have to be very still when you take a picture. We don't want that false positive. So again, just let me know what colors you see on this, and lots of pictures. The shoot button is the big one on the right. So you get two jobs as well. Matthew, was it?
Yeah.
Ah, look at me. I got a couple of them right. So, your device, you're my multitasker.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, your device has three different functions. It has an EMF meter in it, just like what I gave Mia, but it's digital, and it goes way higher than hers, so it's way more accurate. Anything above 2.5 on your numbers, I want to know what's going on. Okay, so that would be her second green dot. We'll kind of compare and kind of see what's going on. The bottom is ambient temperature. If Patrick finds something on his camera, you and I can debunk it by using the thermometer right here at the very top. It's an ambient thermometer. Last but not least, it actually has a motion sensor in it. So anything gets close to that antenna that I just brought out, it's gonna go off. I am not touching it right now. I'm just close to it. I'm touching it now. Obviously different tones, different colors in there. We're gonna talk more about those at our second location, just because that'll be the first place that we actually use it. For now, I just need you to get used to how those numbers move.
Okay.
All right. Now that everybody's geared up, I didn't miss anybody, right? Everybody's good? All right. Martin's in charge. You guys go have fun. No, I'm kidding. Don't go anywhere. Just to make sure everybody's paying attention. All right, so.
What's your name, sir?
Nick.
Nick, okay. Cool.
Guy with the hat, whatever you feel like calling me. That's
All
fine,
right.
too.
Nick,
Yeah, the sweaty guy with the hat, because wool was not my my smartest decision of the day, so we'll just put it that way. So we start here for a reason. Of course we do. Big John's behind me. That was in everybody's text. The place is haunted, so let's get into that place. This place used to be owned by a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. It was his bar. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Every time I'm telling you the history of a location, I will do my best to slow down and give you key words that are relative to the location based on all of the spirit boxes in play. This one would be 47 New York Giants and anything relatable to a bar or the name John. So he used to sit in the back of the bar and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, two guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. So Big John has them thrown out by the bartender. They come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on and he slams down his beer and goes over and just starts beating the heck out of these guys, pounding them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets hit in the neck and the bullet lands behind him in the wall. He gets up after being the only one being shot, by the way, goes back to the bar and tells the bartender, get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor in an ambulance. So the irony of the story is that normally I tell you that a building is haunted, you think of some tragic death. Nobody died in that story that I just told you. The bullet hole is what's haunting the place. It's allegedly still here. Even if the new renovation of Big John's filled it in, because I haven't been in since they renovated it, Big John's blood is inside this building. People that sit in the front tend to get a little bit of a headache, queasiness, nausea, that kind of mentality. This is your heated warning. Fingers crossed we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity tonight because that's what you guys all paid for, but I can't make the ghosts do anything because they're not on the payroll. I'm not paying them to come out and say boo. However, if anybody feels any of those symptoms tonight, I do need to know immediately so we can move the whole group and get that person to safety. We will blame the humidity first, just so everybody knows. Now, everybody just kind of looked at me like, what did we just sign up for? So, have you guys been taking any kind of Charleston history tours at all? Yes, no's, head
We
nods?
have in the past.
You have in the past?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're from here, so you grew up around here. So we had a big earthquake here in 1886, right? So every tour talks about it. That's the reason why I asked if you actually took another tour or not. But this building behind me is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see in the middle of the building apparently broke off, hit somebody in the back of the head and killed them, and they say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I say allegedly a lot with that because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so Kathleen's not thinking about getting sick on the tour. So we're going to go up and learn more about your devices, and I'll be answering any of your questions that you might have before we deep dive into much further history of colonial times. So let's head up to our next spot and get us off this very noisy street corner. We're going to head this way.
I'll go last.
Okay.
I think it's funny he handed me this.
Yeah.
And this is the one I wanted because when he said the firemen use them for.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay. Oh. Oh, okay, baby. You're good. You're all good. You're good, baby.
Oh, look, I had my water in my back pocket. That didn't work out.
No.
Those of you with cameras, because all three of them are in play tonight, we will be going to spaces where there may be parked vehicles like this space or people walking by. We do not film or take pictures of vehicles, and we definitely do not film anybody walking by looking like crazy YouTubers out here. They don't know what we're doing, because they're just walking by and they haven't taken my tour before. So, again, people get a little funny about their cars being filmed, just so you know. So what is this space? Welcome to the Big Red Barn. Notice my voice dropped, obviously not just from the noise at East Bay Street, but because there are horses inside the Big Red Barn. Those horses can hear us because there's no glass in those windows. Now, the only history here is really simple, so we can talk more about your devices. This is the same red barn that held horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Obviously, keywords being delivery, milk, eggs, and we're not going to use Charleston because we're listening to Charleston radio stations. But let's talk about the spirit boxes first. This is not TV, this is not a Ouija board. Everybody wants to ask the same question whenever they have a spirit box or communication device. What do you guys think that question might be?
Is anyone here with us?
Is anybody here, right? So, let's see. If Leona hears the answer no, that means somebody's here. We're not going to be asking yes and no questions all night long. So if you say, if anybody here and somebody hears the word no, obviously they answered you. So we're not going to be asking yes and no questions all night long. Even if you're a skeptic, you're still here to have fun and hopefully find some paranormal proof. We're going after the details tonight. So for an example, those of you that have never used a spirit box before, I would give you easy questions that you already know the answers to. For example, if somebody's here, tell me what color the Big Red Barn is. Obviously, we are listening and looking for the color red. However, most of you are using spirit boxes that are waiting for song lyrics and DJs to convey messages back to us. The word red might not be available to that DJ or song lyric, but fire truck, blood, heart, those three things are specifically red. I would take that as an acceptable answer. What color is the Big Red Barn? Blood. I'm good with that. However, most of the night I'm going to require that there's at least two kind of pieces of verification going on with a clue to be able to verify that it's actual paranormal activity. Another example, who has my word list? Who's got the one with the word list? All right, so let's say that that word list actually has the word art on it. That doesn't mean anything to this location by itself. But is it Caitlin?
Yes.
I got it right this time. But Caitlin, here's the number 40. So again, together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Do you guys see where we're going to be putting the clues together throughout the entire evening? So again, a lot of these people from the colonial times all have the same names, Charleses and Georges and that kind of thing. We need to know who the heck we're talking to. So let's talk about the cameras at this point. Spirit boxes, you should have a basic gist of how you're going to be listening to those particular spirit boxes. And at certain locations, I'm going to give you impromptu questions, but I am going to withhold information on purpose so that way everybody has a genuine experience. Cameras. We're going to start with yours, Patrick. Okay. You're going to try to do two things for us. I know I told you not to film people, but I definitely want you to try to keep one of us in view at all times. The reason for that is because we're going to be the warmest thing out here. That's going to give us the array of color on the screen and much easier to find cold spots. The second thing you're going to try to do is keep the sky out. The blue dot I spoke about earlier is going to default to the sky looking for a surface. Obviously, there's no surface on the sky. So again, people in, sky out. That's the easy. It's some of the spaces we're going to is going to be impossible. Just try to do your best.
Okay.
Somebody was messing with the tightness of it last week, and I've been having trouble with it ever since.
Right.
There you go.
I won't mess with that.
All right, so go ahead and point one of your lasers down for me. Perfect. So when you're actually, trying to film those lasers, you don't want to be pointing down at it because we already know what the circles look like. You want to actually take 2 to 3 steps backwards. You want to be about 4 to 5 feet away so that way your camera kind of levels out, and that way when something does come through, it's going to be very prominent on, and that way you're not looking down at it or trying to guess where it was at exactly. So certain locations will actually put those up on a wall, depending on our location, and lasers are not always in that safe zone. So with that said, I'm sure Caitlin would love to share an earbud with you so that way you can listen in on those spirit boxes as well. So I kind of divide these up on purpose the way that they are set up so that way we have enough evidence to go through. But again, looks like yours is still recording, which is awesome, so I'm good with that. Did it stop? Did it freeze up? Nope, you're still good. All right. The only thing I really need to work with would be Matthew on his device, but we're going to do that at the next location. And then we're definitely going to get those spirit boxes loud and proud once I get through the history of the next location. And that way you guys know what you're actually looking for. So any questions that I can answer about your devices before we go hit the actual first paranormal stop?
So basically, I'm just looking for cold spots, right?
Yep,
and
black and blue.
Right, black and blue. Okay.
That are moving or taking shape of their own, and then I usually look for 15-degree temperature drops.
Right.
So you have that ambient crosshairs in the center, so that way you can kind of pinpoint something if you'd like. But again, I look for a 15-degree difference between the two things.
So I'll be able to tell ambient temperatures too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, I can see that on the side.
No, it's going to be in the center.
Oh, I see. Okay, right. 90.
You have like an 83 on the ground, so 83,
that way. Right. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Any other? Go
I
ahead.
take pictures when we get there.
Yep, you can take pictures pretty much all night long. You just don't want to be, if somebody's like going into their car, you don't want to be taking pictures of somebody's car. So, but have you seen any colors yet on your device?
I saw orange.
You saw an orange, so like right in the middle?
Yeah.
So about a 10? Okay. Matthew, did you see any numbers show up on yours yet?
Not yet, no.
Nothing yet. All right, so we have about a 10 over here, which isn't super exciting, but at least we have something going on. Big red. Anybody listening to their spirit boxes with the earbuds that actually heard anything? Or are you all focused on me? It's usually what happens. It's hard to listen to the fast-talking guy and the radio stations. All right, perfect. Let's head up to the next stop and let's go see what we can find. Let's get this party really going. You guys are going to be my quiet for a second, so.
We're taking it all in.
What do you think, baby?
I love it.
You love it?
Yeah, this is great.
You better hold that thing up, whatever that is.
He hadn't told me to turn mine on yet.
Well, you need to ask him what it is and what it does again. Should have asked him when he said, anybody have any questions?
I'll ask him.
Damn dog.
Woohoo, congratulations everybody, you made it to a parking lot. You made it. Told you I'm taking it in weird spaces, but this space actually used to be something. First off, spirit boxes, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. Just so you guys know, this is the first space I'll withhold information, so let's get into it. What the heck is this place? This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansion site. Their mansion actually sat in the front of this parking lot. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant, came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So that's the layout of the land. Who the heck were these people? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. You guys see why I look for those secondary verifiers now? Yeah, we never know which Charles we're actually speaking to. So the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a pretty big deal to us South Carolinians. However, I hate politics more than everybody here, so we're going to move on. We're going to talk about Eliza. Her story is way cooler anyway. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. If you'll ask her how old she was when she got married, you're not going to hear numbers like 12 and 14, just so you know. She came from colonial times. That was about an average age between 12 and 16 of getting married. I'm talking about today's standards. The only reason I bring this up is because Charles, her husband, was over double her age. Creepy then, creepy now. Just so you guys know. It's a pretty big age gap between the 2 of them.
This was a 15.9.
It's actually a pretty decent spike for just standing right here. Do me a favor though, while I continue on with this history, test that wire. Just get close to it and see if you get a readout out of it. You don't need to touch it. Just be like 1.5. How much? 3.5. Okay, so we definitely, that 15.9 is out of nowhere. Beautiful. So, with that, she married Charles at a young age, obviously, because her father over in England thought he was dying. Yeah, let's go ahead and mute it just for a few minutes. I know you're excited because we have readings.
I wasn't sure yet.
We're to 4.8.
4.8.
Yeah.
So at the 15, we have the 4.8, we have a 15.9. Let's escalate it above anything 15.9, and we're going to talk more about that after everybody separates. So, where was I? So Dad was dying over in England, and he's trying to bring all of his kids home. He wants to see all of his kids one last time. Well, Eliza didn't think he was dying, so she stayed put, and she got married. It's 1744. You don't get married in 1744 for a green card, because we're not even a country yet. She married Chuck out of love, believe it or not. And even after his death, she did remain a widow. You're going to find out later on that was a really, really long time to be a widow. Now, her father did not die right away, which means Eliza was correct. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to this space. You've been in town for at least an hour or 2 that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. One of the things that he sent her were indigo seeds. Indigo seeds basically that's a plant that makes a blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. I don't think I've seen anybody wearing it tonight. Oh, Patrick's got it. Good deal. Thank you, Patrick, for the one example I normally get every night. because nobody wears blue jeans anymore. I don't even think I have like regular denim jeans. But anyway, once she got them, she didn't know what to do with these seeds, so she had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot and humid here, believe it or not. Then she moved it to another plantation when she figured out how to keep it going. She calls her father over in England and says the rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo. We now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. And that is her business. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why everybody's here. Eliza.
Is she the one out in Georgetown off of 17, Eliza, who she had George Washington come in and the whole tree thing? Okay. All right.
Yep.
Great. That's how I thought the name was familiar.
Yep. Good job remembering all of that. So, we're going to kind of go through a series of questions based on who has what spirit box. Let's go with Elena. Am I getting that right? No.
Wrong sister. It's her.
Well, I want to go with this spirit box specific. So, I want you, once we separate, and I say, all right, go ask your questions and have fun, I want you to figure out which Eliza we're dealing with. Charles had two wives named Eliza. The first wife, Eliza, died in January of 1744. The one I just told you about, he married in May of 1744, 5 months later after his wife's death. Really smart or really stupid to marry a second wife with the same name, depending on how you look at it. Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name, meaning the name they had before they were married, that starts with the letter L. Ask what her maiden name is, and hopefully you'll find out which Eliza we're dealing with. Lisa.
Yes.
When we separate, I want you to ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore. If you get an answer, ask when it happened. Hopefully we get a date. If anything, hopefully we get a year. So again, very specific, obviously, numbers and dates that we're looking for. Obviously a specific type of happening of what occurred to the mansion.
Okay.
Let's see. The red spirit boxes. Let's see what we're going to go with. So Caitlin, you're going to go after the children. I want you to ask 2 questions about the kids, and that's it. How many she had and what their names were. Don't poke the bear with this one. The reason being is because there's a tragedy among those children. If we poke the bear, all activity, even our EMF spikes, are going to go away. Don't mess it up for everybody. No pressure at all. Where's my other red spirit box? I'm going to get this name right. You three are confusing the hell out of me. Your spirit box, I want you to ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. And that would be going for you too. So almost like the two of you would almost be working together. Ask how old she was when she died, where she died from, where she's buried. I know, history's so boring. We're going to wake you up. And what president was a pallbearer at her funeral? So, again, these are all very specific questions. So basically stick to how old she was and what she died from, where she's buried, and who was the president at her funeral. What other spirit boxes do I have out here? Did I cover everybody? I think I did. Perfect. All right, so cameras, we're definitely going to go, not filming cars directly, so kind of keep moving. Lasers are safe in here. Just make sure they don't touch vehicles. Just kind of keep them at the tip of your toes as you're moving nice and slow, Kathleen. So when you're filming, obviously just stand right beside her, right behind her, however you want to do it, but make sure your camera's nice and level, because we might capture orbs in the background. We never know. As far as pictures, lots and lots of pictures. Obviously the lasers are going to be in effect. Again, however you want to do it. Just be nice and still, so that way we can actually find anything that might actually be in there instead of just a bunch of blurry pictures. I am going to keep Matthew behind. Everybody else, we're going to spread out. Just keep in mind, do not go in between vehicles. These people get really touchy. These are workers of people that work down here in the city of Charleston. So if they're going here to their break, they don't want to see a bunch of video cameras on their car. Fair? Yeah. All right, let's have some fun. I'll be bouncing around with every one of you here in just a moment, but Matthew, I'm going to start with you. So come on back. I got to write down those numbers first and foremost. Nice job, Catherine. 15.
Eliza. What year did your mansion burn down? Eliza, what year did your mansion burn down? Eliza.
What's his name again?
Nick.
Nick.
Eliza, what year did your mansion burn down? Eliza,
I'm going to ask a question.
how did your mansion burn down? How did your mansion burn down, Eliza? How did your home where you lived burn?
We want to know. We want to know about you. We're curious. You're very successful in life. And we're curious about you.
I have visited your home at Hampton Plantation in Georgetown.
On the final round.
Eliza, what year did your mansion burn down? How did your mansion burn? How did your home burn, Eliza? Eliza.
Eliza, we were at your home in the Hampton Plantation. We're curious about you. Can you answer us? Answer us, please.
I saw your ballroom floor. The cypress ballroom floor is still there. Eliza. Just talk to me some, Eliza. How did your house burn down? When did your house burn down?
We'll send you energy if you can come close to us and show us. Tell us how your house burned down and show us some of your form. We'll send you energy and show us some of your form.
Eliza. What was the name of your plantation in Georgetown? What was the name of your plantation in Georgetown? What year did your house burn down?
Take the energy that's here, Eliza, and show us something of you. Share some of you with us. Because we're looking to see or hear you. Take our energy and show us.
Yeah, we went back up to 41, and now it's just kind of staying high.
We have to mirror each other.
Oh, I see. So we got to stay together.
You're still with me, baby.
I got you.
Eliza, what year did your mansion burn down? I know you hear me, Eliza.
Take our energy and communicate with us. Show us you. Show us yourself.
I'm
Share
trying
with
to
us.
document your history, Eliza. What year did your house burn down? Eliza, what year did your house burn, Eliza? Eliza, I'm listening. Eliza, I'm listening.
Eliza, use the energy that we're giving you with these devices and with ourselves, and show yourself or communicate with us.
Eliza, Eliza, what year did your house burn down? What was that? What did you say, Eliza? Say it again, Eliza. Eliza.
We saw your home in Hampton Plantation, Eliza. It's very beautiful. We compliment you. And now we're here looking for you again. Let us know what year your house burned down. Or come to us and show us a form.
Eliza, do you feel me, Eliza?
Next.
Give me a year, Eliza. Give me a year that your house burned down right here in this spot. Give me a year that your house burned down in this spot. Oh.
That's so funny.
It can be recorded. Eliza.
Oh, God.
Eliza. Hello, Eliza. Hello, Eliza. Get back over here in this corner. What year did your house burn down, Eliza? What year did your house burn down, Eliza? Eliza? What year did your house burn down, Eliza?
What do you think, Patrick? Staying on?
Yeah, it's staying on, and I'm just getting like readings of 78. I haven't seen anything unusual or anything. I've been kind of shining it up, with other people because I know other people are asking questions.
Right.
Staying away from the sky,
Now with this camera, do I capture something every night? Not necessarily, but
Right.
when I do, it's a holy shit moment. Like
Really?
it's a holy cow. And I'll show you some
Okay.
examples at the end.
Cool, okay.
Now, also with this camera, it's not always an in-the-moment find, like what I just told Martin. These screens are small. I'm going to put them
Yeah.
up on YouTube so you guys can watch them on your TV if you want. That
Sure,
way you can
right.
see everything.
Okay.
I have a pretty large computer, so I'm looking at all corners when I'm
Sure.
watching your videos and spot checking. That
Okay.
way I can actually find things.
Yeah.
But a lot of times in the moment, it's not always a holy crap moment in
Right.
the moment. It's about
Right.
the next day.
There you go.
So
okay.
I will tell you all of my most prominent evidence from that camera has come from the next day.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever had anything in the moment other than
I see.
a heat spot growing
Right.
in temperature, which means a cold spot's generating nearby.
Okay.
So again, I've seen that in the past.
Okay.
What's weird is last week I actually had a heat anomaly, which means it was the hottest thing inside the picture moving like a ghost. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen ever, and it was in this space.
No kidding. So
yeah.
a heat.
Yeah, I can't explain
so
it.
it was giving off heat.
It was the hottest thing in the frame.
That's crazy. Wow.
Unfortunately, I didn't have the red dot to show how hot it actually was.
Sure.
But when I say it was moving, like, I mean, it was like stop, go, and it was
Okay,
like
yeah.
watching an orb go by. It
Okay,
was crazy
okay.
stuff.
All
Like,
right.
I've never seen anything like it before, but it was
Right.
the same thing. It was like I couldn't find any research on it either
Right.
to kind of prove like what the hell's going on here.
Right.
So it is what
Wow,
it is.
but it was movement.
Yeah, definitely unexplainable movement.
Yeah. That's cool.
Eliza, what year did your house burn down? What year did your precious home burn down? It actually sounded like house there for a second.
Yeah, yeah,
You heard that?
yeah.
What year did your house burn down?
How did that fire start, Eliza? How did that fire start? Tell us.
Was it a lantern?
Was it an accident or was it intentional? How did it start? We're here to research you. We're here to contact with you. We're not looking to take you out of peace. We're not looking to cause you any harm. We're only looking to contact with you in the name of peace and science and curiosity about your interesting life. We've seen your mansion in Hampton House. It's beautiful. Very blessed to have been there. How did your home here burn down? When did it happen? When did this home burn down? Tell us, Eliza. Tell us when this home burned down. Use our energy with the devices and the people.
Eliza. What year did your house burn down, Eliza?
All right, I'm gonna get us all the answers. I'm bringing everybody back. So Patrick, you can go ahead and stop your video. That's the red square. It'll turn to a circle. So we are going to be very quiet and brief in this location because we're next to a hotel. As far as spirit boxes, have you guys heard anything along the way? What'd you get?
I asked Eliza, I was telling Eliza that I thought her dress was in the customs building, but it's not. It's over, you know, where the dungeon, the prison dungeon is.
The old provost
Yeah.
marshal?
Yes. And I heard,
Exchange.
you're way off. And when it said that, I was like, oh yeah, you're right. It's over at the other building. So that's what I heard.
Any names or any other phrases come through on those spirit boxes?
I heard St. Louis.
St. Louis. Interesting. Then you're way off. Alright. So, as far as the lasers in this location, Kathleen, you can actually swap places with KATHLEEN because I'm going to have you point one of your lasers at this wall directly and try to keep it still. And then obviously you're going to be filming just directly down the alley. You don't need to have the green grid in the way. We're basically looking to from here to the pen, obviously, so if anything shows up, it'll be fantastic. So again, we're not going to be here for a super long time, so that way your arm won't get super tired from being in one spot. But welcome to Lodge Alley. When we cross that last crosswalk coming down East Bay Street, that's where the original Charlestown wall used to be. Charleston used to be called Charlestown, and we were a walled city. You're standing on one of the very first streets we ever had. So we're going to get into the names here. So the names, the reason why I asked for those names is because I normally get the same two names along the way here, and that's because people used to live down here. I have the full list of residents of every single person that's ever lived here. Obviously, these two large buildings were not here, and don't be too impressed with that list of names. It's not very lengthy. Only 2 to 5 people lived here at any given point in time, but I still get the same two names every 6 to 7 weeks. Those two names are Benjamin and John. I know very common names, but when I say people live down here, only 5 at a time, 2 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801 keep showing up every 6 to 7 weeks. John, there were 4 different Johns that lived down here during a 60-year time span. This particular John from 1801 loves to give us his last name, Johnson. Yes, his name was John Johnson. I know, very funny. But again, we do get John, Johnson, Ben, all on the same night on a 6 to 7 week loop. We're in week 4 or 5 right now of that loop. I was not expecting Benjamin and John. I'm actually going to start seeing those probably in the middle of next week into the end of next week. Now, do I have anything specific about Ben and John? No. I just keep getting those same names over and over again. Here's why I think it's happening. We're standing on Belgian blocks. These blocks have been here for at least until dated back to 1739 minimum. So, they're made of granite. You guys all seem like you're into the paranormal of some sort. You've heard the term limestone before. They say limestone actually stirs up paranormal activity because it comes straight from the earth. Well, so does granite. And we're not supposed to have any kind of electrical EMF reading coming out of these bricks whatsoever. Matthew, I'm going to have you place your device directly on the ground with just the readings that's on there now and let me know if you get anything. We should only get about a 1.1. 2. Okay, let me know if it goes any higher than that. Give it a few minutes, because sometimes it takes a minute to build up. It's the weirdest thing. Now, last night we actually got, I'm going to say it was like a 6 or 7, but I've seen it go all the way to 15 in this location where we're not supposed to have any EMF at all. Now, the whole point of why I'm telling you this is because these bricks is part of the stone tape theory. It's the only explanation I can come up with. Stone tape theory is basically that these bricks are hanging onto the consciousness of memories and spitting it back to us in recording format, and that way we can actually see where the EMF is actually coming from. Now, can I prove any of this yet? Not yet. But this has been a very deep study for the past 5-6 weeks as I've been going through this EMF study a lot further. What's the highest number you've seen it go to? 2.2. Okay, I'm going to pick it up. Probably not going to get anything higher than that. Look at you switching it up. Look, people love it. She's like, green is getting boring. I'm going to go to red. Now, before people lived here, the Freemasons had the Masonic Lodge here. Hence the name of the Lodge Alley. We will get terms are out there on the Freemasons, including symbols, and the word Illuminati loves to show up on the red spirit boxes with the earbuds. Now, my question to you is, who the hell is talking about the Illuminati on the radio? Because that's where it's coming from. I only get it while we're in this space. 6 times the word Illuminati showed up last year, and 3 times this year. The word symbols has shown up twice so far this year. Every time I brought up the Illuminati, it came up right away on the word list, or somebody heard the word symbols, and I was able to verify it on the recordings. So take that for what it's worth. Again, I never know what's going to happen in this location. All I know is where we are in the room. Security's not going to come through and kind of interrupt your lasers, so you see security to check out. But here's what's going to happen from here. I just linger here for a few minutes, because again, we're not going to ask questions because it's a weird space. We can't ask questions because we're not necessarily always here. It's all about that loop. The next space is another alley, and I can't take you all the way through it. Why? Because that will move it out. It is considered residential at the end of it. You guys have all the noisemakers that you guys can hear and the blinky lights. Yeah, I'm not supposed to be over there. I got caught when I first started doing these tours a few years ago. I am going to tell you the story of how I got out of that area at the location, but we're going to be telling the story of that alley outside of it, because we're still going to be able to stir up enough activity outside of it to be able to linger with us the rest of the night. It happens all the time. We're going to be relatively close to it. Things do bleed over from time to time. Charleston's very, compacted, like we're right next to each other on a lot of things. I will expect certain things, by the way, at the Pinky Mansion site that show up from Big John's and vice versa. It happens there all the time. But we're done with Eliza now. We're kind of far away. However, we are going to be getting closer to her husband's grave. Every once in a while, a pinky term will show up that's relative to just them while we're pretty close to that. So, as we exit the alley, we're definitely going to cut off our videos because we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood to get to the next alley. Those of you with noisy spirit boxes, you will put them back on mute because we're not going to be disturbing anybody that lives down there. Lasers are definitely still out of the game. EMF meters are still kind of out of the game too. Like we do run that experiment here. I'll be writing down that 2.2 just so that we have it, recorded that way. Go ahead and put your laser with this, Kathleen. Anything you guys may have heard or seen on your spirit boxes before we move on? I know, Lisa, you muted yours pretty quickly as soon as we got over here. Have you heard anything? I know it's hard to listen to me. Can I see your word list? I want to see if any crazy. Yeah, your word list is pretty weak for us tonight. We already have 60 pounds. It's going to go way over our normal average, so we're going to see what happens in the next alley. And then after that, I'm going to tell you we're going to be hitting one last location where it'll be an open forum pirates. Again, yeah, a lot of smiles there. That's why I like to bring it up here. Give you guys something to look forward to. So again, pirates is always lore, but I've read enough books to be able to piece together as much factual data as I possibly can. So that way our investigation is actually based off of data, like facts. So let's go up to the next crazy alley and see what we can find up there.
Hold my arm, baby. Step at a time. One step at a time.
We're going to be filming the alley behind me very, very discreetly. So go ahead and find a spot on the wall, Patrick. If people are going to be walking by, they didn't pay to get filmed. We're going to be very discreet at this location. Same thing with yours, Martin. We want you filming the alley behind me. But again, we want to just kind of keep it steady, be very discreet, but it's nice and low. That green, just so you know, is from the building behind you. Like it's not any kind of ghost just hanging on to it. Have we heard anything along the way here?
I did not.
Nothing?
I heard Jack Black.
Jack Black. You know I'm writing it down, right? So, wow. Very interesting. I want to see what comes up around that, because that's actually two different clues. Did we hear anything on your spirit box? Nothing. And anything come up on yours? Ooh, we gotta get you guys talking. This is supposed to be fun. All right, at least we got some smiles out of them. So, the alley behind me is called Philadelphia Alley. So, that's what we all know it by now. However, it used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston, at least some of them. Now, we all tell the same story about this doctor that actually moved down here, but I'm obviously going to be telling you this a little bit differently, just because you're really hunting. You're going to need a little bit more detail. So, absolutely. Thanks for coming out. But again, you're going to need more details than what the campfire ghost stories are across the street. So let's get into it. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here from Rhode Island. He moves here because his fiancée, Amanda, just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that the doctor is just after Amanda's money, so he tells her to get rid of the doctor. To prove that he's not after the money, he moves to Charleston. He's going to start his new medical practice down here. As he's coming into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody walking by, local, his name was Ralph Isaacs. And I'm going to stop on Ralph because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from, Rhode Island. R.I. shows up here all the time, but I just gave you the two main characters of this whole story. We need the secondary clues so we know who it belongs to, just so you know that. But Ralph says, dude, you don't want to stay here. There's a gunman inside. I know this guy's going to try to kill you, but I have some friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there, and you'll be safe and good to go. The doctor takes him up on the offer, and the two become friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more his practice begins to take off. He's making his own money now. He's proving his point that he wasn't after Amanda's money. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because Amanda's moving down soon. Now, every haunted city you visit in the future is going to have a whistling cliche ghost, I guarantee it. So, I actually have proof of this one, but let's continue on. Him and Ralph go see plays together, but they cannot sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's just the way things work back in Charleston back then. So they start talking about this play on the way home. They're arguing over the new actress that was in town. The doctor thought she was great. Ralph, not so much. It gets even more heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. Obviously, it gets ugly. They go their separate ways. Ralph, being from here, goes his friends at the newspaper. Sorry, I got distracted by blinky lights from the K2 here. But he has friends at the newspaper, so he goes to see his friends at the paper, and he puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Dr. Ladd rebuttals with, let's go to Duelers Alley. We're going to settle this. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air, in his shoes. He did not want to kill his friend. He just want to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel anyway. So Ralph has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. The doctor drops, he doesn't die, and his friends pick him up and carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. This guy's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed out this bullet himself. Now, the campfire part of this ghost story is that when you walk through this alley, you can actually hear the whistles from the doctor. I obviously have a voice recorder on my bag. I used to take my tours all the way through there. If you're going to walk down there and use the voice recorders on your phone, I want you to keep in mind that all the locals know this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street on the other side throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night on my way home because we're going to end up there. My garage is there. I have to pass the alley in order to get to my car. So I always throw a whistle just because I'm not allowed down there anymore and I want to mess with the other tours. So let's tell you why I'm not allowed down there anymore. That's the fun part. This alley didn't always come all the way through. So, things the bricks on the other side are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint and there are fingerprint swipes at the end. Now, there's rumors that they're not actual real handprints and fingerprints, that people planted them so that way we can talk about our slave trade. However, everybody wants to try to stop and get some kind of EMF reading or spirit box reading out of that brick with the handprint in it. On November 26th of 2020, my entire group wanted to huddle around that one brick, and I treat that way the same way I do a grave. Nobody is staring at that brick in the afterlife, especially the kid that actually had to turn that brick to get it to, harden. It's outside a gentleman's dining room window, and I was not supposed to be there. So, this beautiful mansion's at the end of this alley. He come out asking for my license number, the whole 9 yards. My daughter thought it was hysterical because Dad's getting yelled at. So the next day we moved on, and the next day was Thanksgiving. I did not have a tour. I worked in retail for over 20 years. I finally took a Thanksgiving off. I'm sure you all can appreciate that. The next day was November 28th of 2020. I got a phone call that morning from the tourism office asking me to go down halfway, like what we're allowed to go through, or to reroute my tour. I decided it's not fair for my 10 people to try to work around 20 to 60 people. We're going to reroute. However, the story I was about to tell them, I didn't truly believe it, and I told them that. We're going to wing it and see what happens. I did not tell them who we were going to be investigating. Before we leave, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I did not tell them we were going to be investigating Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. When I get up there and I told them what little bit I did know about Anne Bonny and said, okay, let's see what happens kind of mentality. Tickets were much cheaper by then. Just kind of keep that in mind. I was able to wing it. Somebody else hears the number 300, and I don't know what the number 300 is until I research it the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th, 1720. We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. I keep taking you guys back there night after night. However, I am going to tell you is a hit or miss. One of the best pieces I've gotten, Matthew, is what I just told you about earlier. I asked Anne Bonny to show us her hair color, and that's where we got the color red. His device does not go red unless somebody's actually touching that device. I've never seen a color red on demand, and I just had it about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago tops. So we're going to try that again after I give you the crazy pirate history of that location. Before we leave the space, has anybody heard or seen anything on the spirit boxes before we go? I know you guys have, again, been focused on me, which is pretty attentive, so good on you. At that space, lasers will be back in effect, just so you know. It is a crazy history, and again, it is pirate lore, but I've read as many books as I could possibly find on pirates to try to piece it together. So let's go head up to this crazy powder magazine and talk about pirates. Right? All right, we're going to head up this way. Again, a lot of people like to take this last break before we start really diving into this. Spirit boxes, what do we got going on? Anything crazy?
Nothing for me.
Okay. Anything out of the three of you with your spirit boxes?
I heard the formula when you were talking about the doctor.
Formula. I'm going to put that on Philadelphia Alley's page. Nothing came out of Jack and Glass. Hopefully we get more out of that. Alright, so welcome to the powder magazine. This is a little tiny building right behind you. So this thing actually is a museum now. It actually was a whole gunpowder for 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. We are here because this building during its construction is what we call familiar with ghost hunting. So it's kind of like using a toy to attract a child ghost. This building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny spent her time in Charlestown. So what is all of this? You notice the crosses on the side of the building. So the crosses, those are not crosses, they're earthquake bolts. Behind earthquake bolts is that they're on turnbuckles. So in the event of another earthquake like what we did in 1886, which we have not, you can turn those turnbuckles and it's supposed to straighten the building back up again. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. The only reason I bring it up is because these are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston actually put in, because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina, finished in 1713. Again, I told you we're here because of the familiar. We talked about the Charlestown walls earlier at Lodge Alley. I bring that up on purpose back there so you kind of have a layout of the land. That parking garage right there is where the walls stood. We're still inside the original Charlestown walls. It went up Cumberland Street about half a block and started going south. To my left would be most of your right, towards the battery. It locks the gunpowder magazine into the corners of the walls on purpose. If it gets attacked from a pirate ship or Revolutionary warship 3 blocks away, it's going to have a hard time getting all the way through to this location, but if it does, the walls are 32 inches thick. It's going to have a hard time going all the way through. So, with that said, something just came out of there.
I couldn't make out what it was.
Well, hopefully Patrick's got it on his audio. But again, there's sand underneath that roof, because if it does get hit, it's designed so the sand goes up in the air and then falls to put out the fire of the gunpowder. That's a great idea, but that doesn't work either, Matthew. So you're not even like, yeah, that's kind of cool. But yeah, that don't work either. Just so you know. But again, we're going to talk about Bonnie. This building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. It starts right in the middle of its construction. So follow me, there's a lot of twists. If you don't mind, can we mute that for like 2 minutes?
We sure can.
Just so I'm not so distracted. The history, I know, because I'm over here trying to listen to it and I'm losing parts of like what you guys need to know. So 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She moves here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Is everybody with me so far? Again, I got to slow down on some of these twists. The 3 of them are running away from his wife. How mad would she do? I'm just saying. Like, you got to leave your country. So they land in Georgetown, just north of here. Dad buys a plantation, mom dies pretty quickly. That means he has to send the young Anne down here to sell anything from the plantation and kind of keep things afloat. So, Anne back home in Ireland, she was kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly when she was only 10 or 12 years old. So I want you to have that mentality of this young lady as we go through this whole story. Fast forward, building's done in 1713, it's still familiar. Pirates are coming through town in 1715. She's going to fall in love pretty quickly. Guy number 1, yes, I'm going to keep tally because there's that many. Guy number 1 turns out to be James Bonny. You can already see where this is going because we've already mentioned Anne Bonny. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica, they get married. Anne Cormac becomes Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. Now, when she gets down there, this is not Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy happens to be a privateer. He's a spy for the British. He's a coward in her eyes. So, a few years later, she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is the same real person that they based the Captain Jack Sparrow character off of on your Disney films. Just so you know. The Calico Jack has his own ship. He has, obviously Anne wants to be part of it, but you can't put her on there because girls curse pirate ships. They're bad luck. Sorry, I can't think. But he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, you can actually be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in like the British. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, I'm pirate, let's go. Most of us are adults here, we can put 2 and 2 together. Being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. So you cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. So he drops her off the ship. We'll have the baby, come back later, we'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, returns with no baby. We have no idea what happens to this child. This makes Jack pretty mad that she's dressed like a female. That's how she comes back. She doesn't give a damn anymore about hiding her gender. While she was away giving birth to his child, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. She's going to go flirting. And that's what Anne does. We're on guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the pirate crew the Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females, just like males, on the same ship, trying to be pirates. This young lady's name is Mary Reed. Her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're never going to know for certain. And the British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks because they don't know how to use the cannons yet. So, obviously, they're going to get taken by the British. As they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog being a very prominent key word for spirit box activity here. The judge, his name is Nick as well, so if you hear his name, let me know. Obviously, he shares it with me. But he wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly after he's tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't come up and fight. Anne and Mary go in front, they reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. He's still going to hang them because they're still pirates. We plead our bellies, was the last thing they said, because you cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He sends the short back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still here in the Charlestown area. He has all of his Irish money still. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries as husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're still going to count Mary Reed, because we don't know, and has four children and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt ending. As far as Mary Reed goes, she died a year later, 1721, in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. I'm sure it's nasty. So, with the questionings, with your spirit boxes, I'm not going to do the assignments like what we did at the Pinkley Mansion. You can ask whatever you want to with these pirates. I left out 2 things I can prove for certain. That would be the name of Anne Bonny's parents, that's the father and the mistress. And I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. Now we heard Black and Jack. So I'm very interested in what's going to come out of Black and Jack, because Blackbeard did spend time here. So I'm going to be very interested in what you guys tell me, and I'll see if anything actually pieces together with Blackbeard or with Calico Jack. So I'm going to steal you guys for 1 more minute, because there's a reason why I tell you that heated warning at the beginning of the tour. Back in September, I brought my team back here. I normally take you to the back, but there was another team back there tonight. That's unnecessary. The kid next to me, before I tell the story, literally goes white as a ghost. I have to pick this kid up by his armpit so he doesn't hit his head on the ground. His boyfriend picks him up from the other side of him. I bring him over here, get him a bottle of water, he's feeling better. I then tell the story. It's important to know that he doesn't know what you now know about Anne Bonny. Afterwards, I spread everybody out with their devices. They pull me aside and say, Nick, we have to tell you, we are 2 transgender males. Meaning I had 2 females dressed as males, just like Anne and Mary on the tour. So, these are the uncanny things that happen all the time. It made complete sense to all 3 of us as to why one of them felt faint the minute we walked into the space. We actually had some pretty decent activity that night from the spirit boxes and some camera work. So again, take that for what it's worth. It was a pretty decent night, but I have to give that heated warning because I never know what's going to happen. Again, I always blame everything on weather first, so kind of take that for granted as well. Those of you with cameras, you can go to the front of the powder magazine, which means you have to exit through those 2 major poles over there, take some pictures in the front. Those readings are coming from your phone. I was like, oh my God, we have something going on. Matthew, where are you at? So your device will not always give us numbers here. It's all about the colors. Again, you're going after hair color. I want to see if you can get another answer out of that. Laser work we can definitely do in here. If you want to hang out here and point it directly at the wall and do the side view like what we did with Lot Jolly, you can also do in between the lot and the cars here, except for the 1 Jeep, which is awesome. We have some space, or you can go up to the front if you like. Shine the lasers right in the front lines, Kathleen. Just make sure they stay on the ground, because those are apartments. If you go too high, the lasers will go into somebody's living room. So they're that bright and strong. Spirit boxes, this is loud and proud. Let's see if we can get out of the space. We'll know within the first 5 minutes if there's anything going on here, although I am very excited about Black and Jack. Believe it or not, that's why I wrote it down. So again, we're going to see what else comes up out of this. But yeah, definitely, we've also gotten the answer to her hair color on your spirit box, and I've also gotten the word just pirate the second night I used that device. So again, that one is usually pretty accurate in this location. So see what you can get out of us, but definitely stay close to Patrick so we can capture the audio on that. All right, let's spread out. Let's have some fun. I'm going to show it here. You guys can't see the road. Stop. Yeah.
Hold it up to your ear so we can hear. All right, Anne. We're looking for you, Anne.
Anne. What are your parents' names? What are your parents' names?
Show yourself, pirate. Show yourself.
Let me hear you, Anne. Let me hear you, Ann.
What was the name of your ship, Ann? What was the name of your ship? Show yourself.
Who did you marry?
Who was your favorite out of all of them? And who was your favorite out of them all?
Ann.
Show yourself, pirate.
Who was your favorite spouse, Ann? Who was your favorite lover, Ann? Who was your favorite lover, Ann? What are your parents' names, Ann? What are your parents' names, Ann?
Slow down just a little bit.
Huh?
Slow down just a little
Okay.
bit.
What are your parents' names, Ann?
What was the name of your favorite ship?
What we got?
I haven't got anything, but I've been
If
kind
I-
of keeping it away from the sky. And
Yeah, it's
Okay.
hard in this location.
yeah,
If I have got anything, I don't know.
So I was just showing them, the young lady had to go find her phone. She left it in one of the other spaces. We are sitting on the wall. It's right there, not to mention the Charleston wall I was talking about. The word bang, that was Philadelphia Alley. And we
Yeah,
have the word
right.
shoot while we were over there as well.
really.
And it says
That's
clear
awesome.
shoot, almost like it was a clear shot.
Right.
So
Right,
again,
right,
it's
right. That's kinda
it's
cool.
kind of a vague thing. I'll be looking for more on the recordings
Yeah.
to see, just to kind of like these are first kind of verifiers.
That's very cool.
But you actually had some like voices coming through. That's why I told you to please mute it, because I'm gonna focus on that, you know, and that kind
Yeah,
of
right.
mentality. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that device is super fun because it's so accurate.
I mean, I can hear things coming through, but I can't make out what it is. There's only been a couple of things. I mean, when you said you heard something, and I knew that was the voice that I was hearing, the way it sounded. So when they said you're way off, it was like it sounded just like that voice. It was really weird.
This is not an easy one to do. Like the other spirit boxes are just they're constant sweeping. There's no breaks. It's just a constant sweep. This one, like there was something there and I missed it. So hopefully the audio will pick it up. I will tell you, I don't listen to the audio on the videos because I focus on what the videos are meant for. I tell you, like these can also be used as an EVP audio, especially when the SB11 is with the thermal. So that way you know, like, hey, listen to it. I don't, just because I'm focused on what are the anomalies and I want to stay focused on the thermal piece of it.
Right.
Not to mention, a lot of times I hand that to the skeptic by accident and he says some really nasty things about me, brings the morale down for the next night. Like I stopped listening altogether. Oh.
Yeah, I haven't.
color.
I haven't had any anything, but you know, it's not to say that nothing's there. You know.
Yeah.
Well, we've been asking questions like, you know, what was your favorite ship? Who was your favorite lover?
Okay.
But she's a pirate, you know.
Yeah,
She's
it's all good stuff.
she's got that kind of mentality. You know?
But hopefully,
Yeah.
Matthew's over there asking what color her hair was.
Right. Okay.
That's what I'm hoping for, because I have the word color.
Yeah, that's cool. Who was your favorite lover, Ann?
Matthew, you guys asking about the color
Who
of
was
her
your
hair?
favorite lover, Ann?
hear Mark? I thought I heard Mark.
It sounded like Mark.
Let's walk around.
Who was your favorite lover, Ann?
Go ahead, you can share with us. You got nothing to lose. Who's your favorite lover? We just want to know. Okay. What was the name of your favorite ship? How about, what was the most favorite ship you ever took? What was the name of the most favorite ship you ever took? Show yourself, pirate.
Talk to me, Ann.
We want to know about you.
You need to tell me who your favorite lover was. You had many. Who's your favorite lover, Ann? Murphy? That was a
Sounded
different
like Murphy.
voice.
Yeah, sounded like Mark and then Murphy.
Tell me again, Ann, who was your favorite lover?
Use the energy. Use the energy coming out of these devices and out of ourselves.
Who's your favorite lover, Ann?
What color hair did you have? What color hair did you have? Let's go over here.
What is your mother's name? What is your mother's name?
What is your father's name? Did you know? Tell us your father's name if you know. If you know your mother, tell us her name. Show us yourself, pirate.
Tell me who your lover was.
Show us yourself, pirate.
That sounded like something. Tell me who your lover is. Who's your favorite lover?
Again, all the first kind of verifiers. So we got the word love showing up. You had preach the gospel. Obviously, that's relative to the church. Like, I'm excited about that. The word scarlet, and I have the word color show up on the word list. So, like, that's exciting. She actually heard the word heaven. Again, we're going to get a lot of religious terms in this location. Happens every single night. And I don't tell you on purpose because it's one of those withholding information on purpose so that way you guys, when you start telling me, you can see how everything rolls. Just didn't want to make sure nobody was like lost on the front. Did we get a chance to go to the front, or were there other tours in the way? Other tours in the way. Yeah, I figured as much. It's going to be a busy night.
We went to the front actually.
You just fought your way to the front and said, "Get the hell out of our way."
No, actually, we just kind of went through the kind of like I put this through the fence and we just kind of like showed it. So, yeah.
We're not sure, but we might have heard Mark and Murphy.
So Mark.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Yeah, we heard Mark.
Mary, who was pretending to be a guy, went by Mark Reed.
Because we were asking who her favorite lover was.
There you
got
go.
Mark.
Yep.
Wow.
Mark Reed.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. You might hear Reed on there. I don't know. But we definitely heard Murphy.
Murphy. I don't know who Murphy is. But I like when Mark shows up.
Mark was first.
Especially since you guys were asking specifically about all the different lovers.
Yeah, right.
So that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah,
I'll take that one. That's a definitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move over to the wall because I think MIYA is coming back. She'll be back in. Did they find her phone, do you know? Oh, that's not good.
Well, I don't know where
Yeah, that's not good at all. But yeah, let's head back over to the wall. We'll kind of get this party wrapped up and she should be here in a minute or two. I'm going to expect a lot of data back from you. finding everything. Going through all 9 hours worth of data.
Mark was your favorite lover, huh? Did she say hot?
No, she said I, like a pirate.
Oh.
What'd you get?
She just said, so Mark was your favorite lover, and she said I, like you know, nautical term for affirmative. Yeah, I.
I'm loving the Mark thing though.
Yeah.
That's really cool. All right, so let's get you guys some answers to the 2 measly questions I threw at you. First and foremost, I guess with Anne Bonny, the picture I'm about to show you of her, there's very few pictures of Anne Bonny where she actually has a shirt on, because she used to bare a breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. So, I get a lot of teenage boys on this tour, and I don't need angry moms afterwards. So kind of keep that in mind. I also get a kick out of this picture because I believe that the flintlocks that are in her hand are incorrect. I think she would have used more of a duckbill. I'm not any kind of gun person at all, but I have to look a lot at the duels that occurred, what kind of pistols did they use, that kind of thing, because I get things that are parts of those guns. The names of her parents: William Cormack, Mary Brennan. None of you were expecting a secondary Mary, let alone a Mark, so congratulations to you. That was awesome. But Mary Brennan was actually one of the servants at their home, and he was cheating on his wife with Mary Brennan, obviously the mistress, and then they ran away from Ireland to here. So they had a second home, and the wife was always sick in the second home. Yeah, very interesting tale behind that. Calico Jack, I always like to show you Calico Jack as well, because this is the character, the real person that they based Captain Jack Sparrow off of. He was named Calico Jack because of the jackets he wore. They came from the British captains that he killed. Hence the name Calico Jack, meaning Fancy Jack. So the name of his ship was the Kingston. I don't expect Kingston to show up on anything besides your specific device, because you get more disembodied voices than anything, meaning it's not radio chatter. But the word king would actually suffice. I have seen king come through on other spirit boxes, or even the word list, you know, when you ask about that. But it's very rare that we actually hear that answer. But it just seems like, oh, we had the word scarlet as well, for those of you that don't know. I had the word color show up on that word list when we were asking about her hair color, and then Caitlin heard scarlet. So obviously the color of Anne Bonny's hair is definitely red. So very interesting indeed. I think we got a little bit more activity here than what we did over at the Pinckney Mansion. Again, a little bit lower than what I normally see on an average night, just so you guys know. And I think it's because I think we struggled with some of the spirit boxes, you know, the learning curve of that, and that's okay. That's why we review everything tomorrow morning, and you're going to have all of that back now that you guys all know how to listen to it. I also created a field guide, so that way you know how to go through each piece of the media that I give back to you. So it'll be a link at the top of your data set. I keep everything on my website as far as your data for an entire year. I separate it by month. Today's July 2nd, which means you're going to be at the bottom. The more tours I have as the month goes on, try to get to it within the next few days and download everything you possibly can, so you don't have to keep going to my website and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to get down to the bottom of the page. All the videos will go to YouTube. All of the audio pieces will be MP3s. Right-click them, download them, and obviously my notes will be, you can copy-paste with the links in them, so that way you can keep referring back to them. So again, the website is vast. It is huge. Again, I've been doing this for 3 years. That's why I only keep your data up there for an entire year. The website starts to slow down on any more data than worth of 12 months. So again, we're on a new month. As I collect these devices, obviously you guys can ask me 1,000,001 questions. I'm more worried about MIYA, to be honest with you, because they haven't made it back yet. I want to make sure they're okay. I sent them to a darkened alley to go find a cell phone. That's super great. So what does that make me out to be? Hopefully she makes it back on a return. I am going to take Martin your camera first because it has its own pocket. Thank you for keeping it nice and steady. Hopefully we have a nice good video to watch. So about an hour and 30 minutes out of this guy, based on the timestamp that I can see, so that's good. Once I stop the recording, I'll have the audio, you know, I get a basic gist on what we're getting out of that. Lisa, yours goes in that same pocket. Nice attempt, again, not an easy one, but the most accurate by far. So that's why I gave it to you. You were super excited.
Yes.
I was hoping something would have come through for you. I do like the mark. That's probably your best piece.
And when we heard Murphy, it might have been Mary instead of Murphy, so we'll have to pay attention to that.
Yep, absolutely. You actually got a good point. Lasers are always We never know. So we're gonna
Still
find out.
running. So
Okay,
far.
I'll get it stopped.